Hi, my name is Liz and my team is conformed by Nadia Paola, Rosemary Elizabeth, and Abigail Ticat. Well, I am going to speak about the yeast. Yeast is a fundamental ingredient in the bread making process. Since it fermented, it is important to understand what yeast is, the process in which it is involved, and what effect is the fermentation process. In order to master two principles in the preparation of bread and of them, the well-known yeast is actually several unicellular fungi, also called yeast, to carry out the fermentation of the flour producing different substances used in cooking and baking, especially bread muffins. And yeast is able to break in and break down organic matter by generating new elements such as carbon dioxide in process called fermentation. Yeast, yeast, yeast produce and couple of breaking and down various substrates, mainly sugars. And in fermentation, it is where the sugars and fermentables present in down and from sludge and are covered into carbon dioxide and ethanol, producing the bread in correct. Also, I want to speak about the objective. The objective of this experiment is to obtain a mathematical model that demonstrates how the yeast grows.
Hi, today we are gonna do an experiment. The materials we need are eggs, a glass of water, flour, yeast, cake plates, oil, and a blender. The first thing that has to be done is to mix all the liquid ingredients and then the solids to beat the Then, with a large spoon to have the exact measure, place a spoonful of this mixture on each plate. To have the most accurate measurements, make sure that all the containers have the same amount of mixture. To finish, I added in the 5 containers different amounts of yeast, such as in number 1 I put a tablespoon and in the container 2, 2 tablespoons, and so on as is seen in the video. Finally, it changed the volume of the mixtures according to the amount of yeast, and I measure it again. I put the mixture in the oven for about 20 minutes to bake, and then I measure the growth results.
After the experiment, we obtained some results and we analyzed it through tables. They contain a pair of number of spoons of yeast because they are the independent variable, so we identify them with the letter X. However, the measure of the growth of the bread was identified with letter Y, the dependent variable, and these measures depend on the amount of yeast. After that, we plot the points on the graph. The first graph is going to represent the first table. The line obtained is a straight line. With this information, we can make a mathematical model to represent this phenomenon. The model that can represent it better is a linear model, since have a v that is the intersection of y, and we obtain the constant variable between each bread. It increased 0.1 centimeters between each bread. In the second table, there is represented the final growth of the bread after baking. The number of spoons of yeast are taken as a variable x, and there were 6 tests in the experiment beginning from 0 to 5 spoons of yeast that, after baking it, indicated that an excess of yeast produced less growth. For this reason, the graph about the results in the table is negative. When making the linear model, it was used the intersection in the y-axis of the graph, that is 0 spoons of yeast. In that case, the y variable was growth of 1.7 centimeters. With this information, it was possible to obtain the constant variable for the linear model. It was obtained a model y is equal to minus 1/10 x plus 1.7. With this equation, it is possible to calculate the size of the bread with specific yeast spoons or the yeast spoons necessary to make a specific size of bread.
This experiment had expected results since we used the yeast to see the effect on bread, focusing on the size. And well, with this, we can observe that an experiment of any branch, in this case chemistry, makes use of mathematics to obtain the results in an easier way, through a mathematical model. On the whole, yeast is a fungi that is used in making bread, because it influences in the color, shape, odor, smell of the bread. In this case, we focus on the size of the bread to obtain a mathematical model. In this case was the linear model, since it was the one which used a constant rate of change. It could not be with a quadratic and neither with a logarithmic function because it is not related with exponential rates or quadratic ones. So the best was a linear model to express the decrease of the bread. Something that was not expected, but it happened because when you use much yeast in making bread, it causes the bread to sink.